In this video, we're going to be making a panel, a frame and panel for the back of a bench seat. Here I've worked out all my dimensions, and then I've got all my stock cut, planed, and sanded, running through the drum sander. So we're ready to start cutting to size. Okay, the first pieces I cut were the end stiles. And now the next step is to cut the bottom and top rail. Okay, and we get the length of that. We put both of our end stiles together. And set the tape measure on the dimension that we want the panel, and we read this dimension, which is 36. Okay, we've got our 36. Since we're doing a tongue and groove frame, we're going to take and add 3/4, because we'll have a 3/8 tongue on each end. Okay, now we've got our top and bottom rail cut. Now we're going to do the same procedure for these two middle stiles. What we're going to do is take the top and bottom rail, put those together. And do the same procedure. Get our finished height dimension and read the dimension here. Okay, we've got all our pieces cut and roughly laid out. Now, since this is a tongue and groove frame, we have to mark the edges that are going to get grooves. So we put an X or some sort of a mark on all the edges that get a groove. Okay, what we're doing is a flat panel. And we're going to make a groove in the stiles and rails. And it'll be a 1/4 inch reveal on the top. Okay, so we've got our dado set in the table saw. I've got it set a 1/4 inch away from the fence and just slightly above 3/8 above the table. Okay, now we're ready to start cutting our tongues, and we've reset the fence and the height to take out enough material to leave a tongue. And also I moved the fence so it's 3/8. This side of the dado is 3/8 from the fence. Okay, we've got all our pieces cut and laid out on the bench. And now to find the spacing for the middle stiles, what we do is just set them in place, and then just by trial and error find equal spacing for each panel. And once we're done with that, we mark and then we'll transfer those marks to the top rail. Okay, we've got our panel all dry assembled. And now we're going to measure for the panels. Okay, and we do that by holding our tape measure at a 1/2 inch on one side and then read the dimension on the other end. And we do this in both directions. Okay, we've got our panels made up. This is soft maple we're using. And I glued two boards together. And I've got them sized for width and length. Now the next step is to make a notch in the edge of each panel so it'll fit in the frame. And we'll have our 1/4 inch recess in the front. Okay, I've got the blade set 1/4 inch away, and I've done a little bit of trial and error with a scrap piece to make sure this is the right dimension. And the blade is about 1/2 inch up. Okay, now we've made our first pass. Now we have to take out material on the back here to make the notch. And I've reset the blade to 3/8 on this side from the fence, and just above to clear this, so that this piece will be removed. Okay, we've got our panel all dry assembled. And now we're going to be ready to take this apart. I've got my clamps ready to go. We're going to take it all apart and start gluing it up. The panels have been sanded to 120 grit before assembly. Use biscuits to space the clamps off of the wood so you don't get the dark stains. Okay, we've got our panel all clamped up. Before I assembled the frame, I sanded the panels to 120 grit. Before I do the final assembly on the bench, I'm going to do all the finish sanding and finishing.